Welcome to Squatchin Holler.
In the mist where the trees lean low, Squatchin Holler's got a tale to show. Whispers creep like a creature's faint howl. Every shadow's got a secret to growl. Monsters rise where the stories are told. Squatchin Holler where the legends are born. Are they here? Are they gone? Who can say? In the holler, the truth just slips away. Huge footprints fade where the creek runs thin. A lantern sways, let the search begin. Rustling leaves, but there's no one near. Is it the wind or the beast you fear? Every echo's a question, every rustle's a clue. Squatchin Holler's got its eyes on you. Monsters rise where the stories are torn. Squatchin Holler where the legends are born. Are they here? Are they gone? Who can say?
With your Squatchin Holler hosts, Roger Williams, Amanda Stowers, and Ashley Range. Remember, this podcast can be downloaded everywhere great podcasts are found. And now the show.
Let's try this again. Hello, hello.
So can you hear me now? Yes.
Can you hear me now? I always look up and see that red, and I'm like, oh, I'm I've got the mic turned off. So how's it going, everybody in chat? Amanda?
I am doing good. Yeah, the chat is already rolling. We just went live, and we already got 45 people in here. So, yeah, I'll try to keep Roger focused tonight. Wish me luck.
So, Ashley's not with us tonight. She had some things she had to take care of. Right off the bat, Greg's still in the hospital. He's doing better. And we need to send prayers for him. And then Grizzly Chris, also one of our buddies. He has his, several shows. He's had a heart attack, y'all. So just any prayers would be appreciated for him. So
Absolutely.
So we all do this stuff, and some of us get into it deeper than others, but when it comes down to it, family and health and everything's more important. But yeah, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. I've been looking forward to this since our last interview with Mr. Davis. And right at the end, he said something about talking about giants. I'm like, oh yeah. So
yeah, we were just barely getting started last time. I'm very excited to pick his brain this evening.
And y'all, we're gonna do the trivia right quick. We like doing that. It has something to do with where our guests live, the area or whatever. And let's do this cheesy stuff here. All right, here's the question for Amanda.
Alrighty, so tonight's trivia. What Mississippi River legend describes a massive snake-like creature said to lurk in the Yazoo River near Vicksburg, Mississippi?
Thanks AI for messing that up.
I was saying that must be a typo.
Anybody know? MK probably knows. So the answer is the Yazoo River monster, sometimes called the Vicksburg serpent. There's all kind of stuff out there that we don't.
There's so much out there. It's crazy. Like the more I keep going in, it's like the more that keeps popping up that I've never heard of. And it's so awesome that, every place seems to have something. So There's
And
definitely more to heaven and earth than what we've been told. That's for sure.
yeah, and we have history, hidden history, forgotten history, history that's been swept under the rug. And when you start, I'm gonna go through this quickly. When you start digging into this subject, you find old newspaper clippings of 12 and 15 and 20-foot giants, and uh, there's one in Tennessee, 20 feet in length. The skeleton. This is in Williamson County, just one county north from me, and we have a quote from Abraham Lincoln: "The eyes of that species of extinct giants whose bones fill the mounds of America have gazed on Niagara as ours do now." Could he be talking about the dinosaurs, or could he? I mean, what's found in the mounds? We know that there have been bones found in the mounds, and there's hundreds of reports of being sent to the Smithsonian or somewhere else, and they just disappear. And for those of you, Amanda's got a whole book. She's got
It's like a whole book library started on this stuff.
and I had somebody, Amanda, say, "You believe in all that stuff?" We had just come out of church, and I'm like, "Well, I believe there are written records, from beginning of time." "Oh, I ain't never seen none." And then I brought this up.
I was like,
David
ta-da!
David versus Goliath and his four brothers. He took care of them later. So we'll get to our guest here, because I know he's probably got a lot to talk about, and he's actually gone to was it Lovelock Cave and found
Yep.
bones, and
Yes, the
he
famous Lovelock Cave.
yes. So let's bring Mr. Davis on. How you doing, Mr. Davis?
All right. How are you?
Good. I'm glad that you're back with us. We had a great time last time, a very informative 3 hours. And we actually, our thumbnail, I used the picture my son took when I was talking to you at the conference in Tennessee, McMinnville. And I just hate I didn't get to go to supper with y'all, or Southern term. But it was a little too late. But yeah, it's been fun, and just welcome back to Squatchin Holler.
All right. Glad to be back.
So how did okay, we know the Patterson-Gimlin film piqued your interest, and you've spent, you know, years going over that, and making it where we all could look at it ourselves, and breaking down that film. How did you get into oh yeah, happy birthday, MK.
Okay.
We had somebody wished you happy birthday in chat.
I was about to, but I was going to not jump in on conversation there with it.
Well, so how did you get into the giant subject?
I think it's a kind of one of the natural course of things, that once you get into Bigfoot, and Bigfoot is confirmed, at least in your own mind, well then, if Bigfoot's real, what else is real?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And it's got the added part about the coming from the Bible with David and Goliath, which is a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we doing a little research, I found that I think I've heard this before, but the amount of videos and reading that I did leading up to this show, I was shocked to find out how big people were in the old days. We've gotten smaller, and our lifespans have gotten shorter, and there are records of people being 12 to 18 feet tall at one point. So I don't know what happened in the timeline, but something definitely happened.
Well, from what I can tell, when Native Americans first came here, or first migrated here, there was already giants here. That's what I gather. Giants. We're not talking about a 6'3" being a giant.
Right.
We're talking about 18 to 20 foot, maybe more.
Mm.
And
Right.
everywhere there was a giant, Native Americans prospered. They thrived because they depended on the giants. The giants were mentally sharp and physically outfitted, and they kind of ruled the roost. And then after a while, there came to be demigods, what they call a demigod, which is mixed blood. Father is a giant, mother is a human. There's several of them mentioned in history books. One of them is Tuscaloosa.
Yes,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
He was
Chief Tuscaloosa was a big man.
yeah. Let me read what I've got in it's one of the Spanish quotes if I can find it here. All right, here we go. It says the giant Tuscaloosa, whom De Soto met in the Coosa Valley, was a Choctaw chief. Now, that's a little bit of a misnomer because Tuscaloosa, the name means black warrior. And he was
Interesting.
very dark skinned. He was not of the same, he had Indian in him, but he was the dark part. That's,
Hmm.
the giants were dark skinned. You know, Indians came in on them when they migrated here. They It's not a lot of them. Not a lot of the purebred giants. More demigods than that. Powhatan, you might remember the father of Pocahontas.
Hmm.
He had 100 tribes paying tribute to him,
Wow.
and
That's a lot.
that's how he got into it with the Pilgrims, is because he considered them another tribe. He wanted them to pay tribute, and they refused. And so he sends the next plan B was to send his daughter over there and try to get married to one of them. And
So
she goes over there. You may not have heard this, but she takes her clothes off and turns cartwheels. And it must have worked because she ended up getting married to one of them.
wow. So let me get this straight. So the bones that have been found in the mounds were probably leaders of tribes, and is that what you're saying?
I don't know. You know, those things. Most of those things were ancient when they were dug out. They were already ancient.
Okay.
Uh, we had two mounds here in my hometown of Yazoo City. When they started the town, they're gone now. They have a street called Mound Street, and these were not like your round mounds or pyramid mounds. These were oblong, way different shaped, and they took them down a little at a time. They didn't have bulldozers, so they used mules and slips and took them down, used the dirt for other things, and if it got down into the mound real good, they dug up giant bones. These bones were the bones of huge people, and they deteriorated rapidly when the air got to them.
That's
The Yazoo Indians that they named our town after actually lived uh, out there toward the mouth of the Yazoo River above Vicksburg, uh, and they lived there. They were from somewhere else. They weren't from around here. They lived there along with Ofogulas, which they call them the dog people, and they were from Ohio. All these Indians got ran out from up north by the Iroquois Confederation. So, but they all knew about the giants, and I have a book called uh, it's called "In the Hands of the Great Spirit: 20,000 Years of Native American Presence in North America," and it's got quite a bit to say about giants. One in particular, You ever heard of him?
mm-mm.
No, sir.
That's what I'm kind of halfway inclined to think that that handprint that we found in that cave might have been him, because that's the direction they headed, looking for him. They wanted him to get them out from under Spanish bondage, and they sent a party out at night, and they traveled 2 weeks due north, and they found Poseyamo. Poseyamo planned their rebellion against the Spanish, which was successful. And they ran the Spanish out to Mexico, and they didn't see them again for 100 years.
Wow.
And they were celebrating Poseyamo.
So
Interesting.
it's
Mr. Dave,
it,
sorry, Dave, Roger, I didn't mean to
well,
cut you
no,
off.
it just amazes me of the history that's hidden. It's not just with giants, but um, I will definitely after this start getting some books that you recommend, because I want to know, I want to learn what's been hidden from us. So good gracious,
Yeah,
Same
I
as
feel like
me.
some things they history people who put those books together thought they were inappropriate.
Mm,
Like her turning cartwheels naked, so they
right.
just didn't mention it. But that's actually what she did to get a husband out of the Pilgrims group, and appeared to work. But it wasn't considered to be inappropriate by the Native American standards. It was standard fare what you do,
Right.
Yeah.
and they probably were astonished.
Yeah, impressed. And
All,
and
I
all,
when,
can't do I
all
can't
he
do
wanted was
cartwheels, so
he wanted them to come under his authority, Powhatan, and just pay an annual tribute. Um, so that's all. That it sounds it's if it sounds to how you say cleaned up, the what history books say about it, that's because it is. It wasn't nearly that clean a meeting between them, and they brought food the next day and they all had a good time. But it was conniving, planning, getting to know a person. Uh, Powhatan, he must have been something. He was like Tuscaloosa. He wasn't as tall as say a purebred giant, but he was a heck of a guy.
so for the people just coming in, what height would we consider a giant at? Would it be like 8 or 9 feet, or of course I know we're talking about a lot bigger than that, but there are rare cases where humans have gotten that big in recent history, but they usually have a disease, and there are telltale signs of that. And some of them been studied. They don't have that. They're like 8 foot, 7.5 foot or whatever. So when we're talking about these giants, are we talking 9 foot or better?
Well, probably, most likely. They were there. I've got one on video that's probably exceeds 9 feet.
What?
It was
and when you
taken out there in East Texas.
Wow.
I didn't
Did,
know what to make of it. I call it Tall Paul. I
do
could
you,
see that it was tall. I went out there and I could see from me being there that it was
it was
exceptionally
big.
tall. It was tall,
so
way
with this
taller than the other Bigfoot.
Do you
interesting.
have a way of showing that, or do you want to, or
Oh, yeah, I'll be happy to. Hold on just a minute here. See if I
do I
can.
need to send you?
I
You
can.
should
I,
be able to
I think
click.
there's something you do on your end, but we'll
Hold
see.
on. Let me.
Let me go to share.
Okay. Share screen.
Yeah, let me. Mine's not showing.
Let me click on it and see share screen. I remember we did it last time. I don't. Um,
The words are down below off
do
my
I
screen, so
do
I
I
can't tell
invite you?
what symbol I'm on. I think I've got it on share, but I don't know if it positively. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Share screen. That was just a guess. Okay. Here we go.
My daddy always said I'd rather be lucky as good any day.
Okay, I'm on share, so you'll have to do something on your end. I'm not sure what that
There
is.
it
There
is.
you go.
There we
you
go.
You got right to it. Now let me go back and get this one. Tall Paul. This was taken with a camera of not that great a quality. It's a security camera of the time period of around the turn of the century, 2000, around in that time period.
It's crazy to think about the year 2000 as turn of the century, because when I think turn of the century, I still think like 1900.
Okay, this is without Tall Paul. They're filming into a mirror. You'll see these two right here on the side over here. They're having an altercation. Let me do it again. It's on the right side of the screen, right in here. Okay, now I cut it in two and did both of them separately because Tall Paul comes out and runs them off. Let me find Tall Paul now. Tall Paul 720 zoom. Here we go. There he is right here.
Is that a Dutch barn or a barn?
That's just looks like just a farm, a barn and a farm. I was there. I went there. That roof line right there is 9.5 feet off the ground.
And it looks like the head is higher than another foot over that, right?
Oh, I'm telling you, this sucker is big.
Yeah.
Let
This
me
is actually starting to look familiar to me. Is this the fence jumper video?
It's in that same area, it's
Okay.
the same garden and everything. The lady told me that this one is not a regular there. He's only there every now and then. But he came out and stopped these two from fighting, and they ran them off, and then it runs out right there.
Look at the distance between the legs. I don't know when it takes a step. It looks like it's limping.
It's limping or dragging its foot for some reason. I don't know. When I first came across this video, I didn't have any explanation with it. I didn't understand fully what I was looking at. And I got a hold of one of the guys whose camera it was, and they explained it to me. You got to remember that they had no intentions of ever showing this video. It got into my hands through a third party.
What's the approximate distance from the camera to the subject?
I just have to guess, or I can look for some photos that I have.
Oh, you're good, but I mean,
maybe in there.
A guesstimation.
I'll say it more like this. It's how much taller would it be than me if I was standing there with him?
Yeah. So,
and I tell you, I would be looking like this.
So the doorway usually 7 foot, and to walk into that barn, and it's it's taller than the barn.
This dude came from. I'm going by what I was told by the lady that lived there, that he came from the Comanches, the mountains north of there. He was just a sojourner. He'd come through and stay a little while and be gone.
So
all the rest of them weren't this tall. He would be the equivalent of Tuscaloosa. You know, all the rest of the Indians were normal size.
Yeah.
Wow. He's way up above all the rest of them. Some people refer to them as mountain giants. So
we know, just looking at historic accounts where a lot of like the pirates would go to a new land and come up on giants and different on different continents. So this is something it's just been going on for forever, actually. And why is it so hard for? I mean, I know they're not walking downtown right now. There's a lot of places for them to stay, just like the Bigfoot. But I'm just blown away. That was crazy.
Well, yeah, that's I like I said, I when you see stuff like that, it's I I I I didn't know what to think of it.
Right.
You know, first of all, you have to kind of get your mind adjusted to the Bigfoot actually existing,
Right.
and then something like this steps out.
Well, this is speculation, but what if people see one of those and mistakenly call it a Bigfoot? They get a 2 or 3 second glance at something like this. That would be the only thing 5 years ago my mind would have went to Bigfoot, but
That's me right here. Now I may be, it makes a difference perspective wise, but even with the perspective adjusted for, this dude is huge.
Wow, that really does give a comparison of size.
well, if you look at that farm gate it's right there, and y'all know how tall those are. Those are about not quite under up to my underarms, but
Mhm.
that's at his lower part of his hip or under his rear end. And he's out from that. He's not standing beside it. There's a
Well,
few
like I
feet.
said, that he's been seen before. That wasn't the first time he's been
Mhm.
seen. Uh, but
But
it's intermittent.
you say they said that he was kind of breaking up a fight, like he was.
Yeah, he was breaking up a fight. There was a white one and a darker one, and they were fighting. What they were fighting over, believe it or not, was a set of tires, old tires that had been staked out in this garden, and they were just obsessed with them. And the Bigfoot were fighting like mad over them. Man, that's what the fence jumper was doing, was trying to get to those tires. Those tires had been pulled in there by the researchers. They had, if you want to call it habituation, I'm more, I kind of favor maybe provocateurs. They found whatever would stimulate them to reveal themselves or do something,
Right.
and they would keep on doing it and try to get them on camera. This thing with the tires started way back on the back end of the man's property, near an old bridge that people had thrown the tires out, and the researchers had realized they were being thrown about at night. So they got them and chained them all up together, and the Bigfoot got really mad about it.
Is
And
this the same place? Go ahead, Amanda.
I was just gonna make a tease, say they took their toys away and tied them up, basically.
Well,
yeah, I don't know if they're toys or religious about them or what. But the fact that it's a circle,
True. Yeah, I
they
didn't think
they
about
made
that.
circles with rocks too.
now I think when you first started doing this, it was years ago. Is this the same spot where they had a camera into the mirror?
Yes, this matter
Okay.
of fact, you're looking into the mirror.
Oh, and it's okay. I got you. And
Yeah.
and I guess the thinking of that is they don't see the camera pointing at them,
Mhm.
basically. So that was a set of
No,
traps.
they were aware that the cameras did something, because they would come up behind them and tap them with their fingernails.
Hmm.
But they
I
didn't want to walk in front of the camera.
and is it this is you said this is Texas.
Yeah.
How hold on. Oh, this when Tammy said, she said, "Wow, one of the assistant Spurs coaches, ex-player, came to my house once, and I thought he was tall." Yeah, so some of those guys, I've stood beside NFL linemen. They're probably 6'7", 6'8", 275 to 320, and not an ounce of fat on them, and you feel very small beside one of those guys. You add another 4 or 5 foot and more mass, it'd be terrifying.
Yeah, there's a whole lot we don't know about these things. It's even if you got the best and the most data and the latest data, you're still lacking a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
They're just hard to get any kind of extended view of, for a length of time, and get in the quality and all that's hard to get them in good quality. If you watch, let me go back down here again without with top paw. Here he is. You'll see that he shimmers. You ever heard anybody talk about Bigfoot kind of going in and out and shimmering?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mhm.
Watch him there. You'll see. So he'll be, this part right here will disappear, and then it'll come back, and then the lower part will disappear, and it'll come back, and then at the end, you can see the whole thing. But I don't know myself what's causing that. See it, watch it.
MK, I've collected a hair over a year ago. Doug has it now, but it's black at the base, and it's clear as fiber optic for another 2 inches.
Wow.
And they're going to, yeah, they're in it. What happened? One of my buddies down in North Alabama, something tried to open his door, and I went down there the next day and found greasy hair prints on the door, and went around, found the hair, preserved that, and hopefully we'll get that analyzed maybe this week. But with that hair being the way it is, I've talked to a few well-known researchers that been studying this, and the clear, the how would I put it? The black would make it hard to see the outline in low light conditions, and then what light was there, it would kind of blur it, so to speak. And you would think it would matter what angle that was at. So as that thing is walking and changing angles with the camera, that might be what's causing that. Now that's speculation from, but
Well,
the
that makes sense.
description, it made sense. And of course, me being me, I threw the question into AI, what advantage it would give an animal. And I explained exactly what it looked like with the hair. And it said it would make it hard to photograph in low light conditions or video because of the disbursement of the ambient light and the black hiding the outline. So I don't know if that's true or not, but it's very interesting. I'll send you a diagram later on Messenger and let you look at it. But we see these things. You've got video right here. There's several videos, and somebody pointed out with the Freeman footage, doesn't it kind of fade out a little bit at one point?
Oh yeah, it does. There's lots of strangeness in that video. There's also a point where it appears to pick up a small one, and when you add all that together, that's got to be number 2 video.
Yeah,
behind the Patterson film.
and
I agree with you on that, Mr. Davis. The Mr. Freeman's film, I call it the "oh, there he goes" film. That's one of my absolute favorites, and I agree that it's second in line there to Patty, because there's so much anecdotal evidence with that. He got prints afterwards. There's the audio where, because he was able to capture his reaction, because unlike the PG film, they didn't have audio. So just all of it is there. It's definitely one of my top faves for sure.
And if I'm not mistaken, that the deformed foot, that was from that sighting also, wasn't it?
You're talking about the cripple foot?
Cripple foot.
No, that was in Bossburg, Washington.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's where I got confused because what was uh, wild about that report in those tracks, they found those tracks way away from there, and it was the same, like a year or two later, or it was a time span, and they casted tracks, and it matched up to that one. I believe if I've got that report right, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
maybe it has a similar problem with its foot or something.
Yeah,
Uh, I imagine they have their fair share of foot problems, with all the weight on them and everything. And
yeah,
of course, they
and
got probably a big old thick pad on the bottom. You develop that. Yeah, even as a kid, I used to go barefooted. My feet got tough.
yeah. That's what we would do that down here too. Uh we get my mom would feed us breakfast and then push us out the door for the whole day. So, and we weren't in town, so we would sneak into the spring house and get a drink of water, and it was a good time. But that's this okay. Let me ask you this. So somebody brought up, hold on, the Stacy Brown Senior. Do you have a top 5 videos of Bigfoot ranking?
I can tell you the top three. I think.
Okay.
I think the Patterson film, and the Freeman footage, and then the Mississippi skunk ape footage.
Yes, that's another great one.
It's the duration is outstanding for that one. Most of the time they don't last but just a second or two, and he sat there. He didn't know what he was filming.
Right.
You could hear him under his breath. What?
Yeah.
Which is about what anyone would do.
And that one's interesting too, because again, with the audio, besides hearing him talking, you can actually hear the skunk ape, the power of it as it's ripping the stuff out of that tree. Just the what's the word I'm looking for? Concussive sound as the inside of the bark and the tree is breaking apart.
Well,
So I think
and
that's really fascinating with that particular video.
and if you've ever tried to gather firewood at a campsite or out like we used to, fish at night on the creek banks, and people, that's a good point, Amanda, because I've tried to rip stuff like that, and it's almost impossible with
Mhm.
human strength. And then when you see something effortlessly just separate something, that's part of the observation of videos when you see something that that you couldn't do yourself, but whatever the subject is in the video has no trouble with it. I mean,
Mhm.
Well, that's kind of what you want out of a video of a Bigfoot.
mhm,
You want it doing something that a regular person couldn't do.
right.
Anybody knows those cypress trees? They'll get hollow in the side, but still be living on the outside. And what he did was pull a plank off of that living part, just split it and pull it off, and threw it in the water over there.
With
And
no effort.
I went out and found me one just about like that, and I got my friend to film me, and I snatched on it with all my might, and
Well,
I couldn't even make a sound,
and
like it was going to.
it's probably still there intact, ain't it, Mr.
Yep,
David?
still there.
Yeah. So, you know, having a little bit of outdoors experience, eh, I'm not talking about being a tracker or whatever. If you spend any amount of time outdoors, it helps you when you look at some of these videos. Some of the, some of the little trees that are bent. I think we might have talked about this last time. I'm slow, and one day I realized I'm like, how could this happen? And I'm like, we used to do that when we were smaller. We'd climb a tree and ride it down. So, speculating what could cause it, like kids don't get out and do that anymore. Maybe the little ones go up and do that. So, it's just like I said, I haven't seen one do that, but when you get into this subject, when you see a Bigfoot yourself, when you start questioning everything, like MK said earlier in the show, you start trying to think outside the box. What could cause this? What could cause that? And it kind of gets, you kind of have to take a break. Have you ever had to step away, Mr. Davis, and just kind of come back to it later?
Oh, well, it's called sleeping on the problem. Yeah, sometimes that's a good method for solving, because if you get too into it, it's almost like it's in your face, and you need to back away and
Right.
kind of look at the whole thing, and think about it a little bit. It appears to work good that way. I've solved some problems like that.
So here's a question. I keep the question is, you have any thoughts on the Independence Day video? Now, I get that confused because I thought the Independence Day video was the one that was caught running across the ridge, just below the ridge in the green grass. And then now I've seen it referred to the one that the female is carrying the baby.
That's
that
the
runs out.
Independence Day.
Okay,
Yeah.
it runs out behind the
Mhm.
rock. And
The other
and
one is called the Memorial Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. It was probably 10, 15 years in between that I heard, reference. So now the one with the Independence Day, I don't know if I contacted you years ago, you wouldn't have known who I was. But I was looking at that video over and over and over, just like the Zapruder film. So I'm the one that I took gaming headphones and turned the sound up, and just before she breaks and run, it sounds like the baby makes a noise and kind of blows their cover. It's a little whine, and I don't know if that's true or not, but you can hear it in the original video, like before she exposes herself. Because I'm thinking, why would she, me being me, why would she expose herself like that? Well, when I turned the sound up, I heard a whimper, and after that whimper, she bolts. So I don't know whether she thought she was, cover was blown or whatever, but that's just, I get curious about something, and I try to dig into as much as I can, but I don't know if that's what happened or not.
Well, remind me, where was that taken?
I don't remember. I don't
believe
remember.
it was somewhere in the PNW, but I can't remember exactly where either.
I would like to go over and do some research into locations of some of these better films,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and see if there's any kind of similarities in the type of terrain, or
Mhm.
or is it more generally widespread?
And
uh, that to me, it wasn't. Well, there's an awful lot of data that a person could get into. It's time consuming to do that. Sometimes data pays off.
yeah. And, you know, and also it would be good to point out whether the sightings ramp up for 3 months out of the year, versus the other 9 months or whatever. Like, just say maybe you have a travel way, or the food supply, whatever's in, that's there and available, or maybe it's a place where they go and have their young, and do that, and then go back. Because I've taken reports. We have a place here that now is the time where we have activity. In summertime, when it's 98 degrees, high humidity, we have nothing moves. It's close to the river, but we got a phone call tonight that there was a scream heard by a neighbor, and they don't know what it is. They don't know what we do. It was just an innocent telling another neighbor, and we got a phone call and said, so we're going out there to put recorders out tonight. So after the show, but you can't help when you get into this to try to figure out the puzzle. It's so hard. And I don't,
I'm gonna
and
try to locate a file here. You just keep on talking there.
all right. Amanda, you have any thoughts on the giants? I know you read books and stuff.
Oh, it's definitely been a subject that I've had some interest in for a very long time. Again, just starting off with the obvious one that you mentioned, David and Goliath. And, you always hear people talk about that. I grew up in church all the time in Sunday school, hearing about it all the time. And then come to find out later that, there's reports of giants in modern day. And by modern day, I mean not BC kind of reports.
Not
And
BC.
then you dig in a little bit more, you dig in a little bit more, and then all of a sudden these newspaper articles start popping up, or these reports of um, the Indian mounds and everything. So it's a very interesting subject matter to me. And again, I think a lot of it is just, I'm just going to say it is, I just think a lot of it is some hidden history that has been hidden from us, and there's got to be reasons why to it. And that's my tinfoil hat for the day.
Yeah, well, this video that I run up on, I was so shocked. It didn't shock me that it's in Tennessee. It just shocked me how close it was.
Hmm.
This creek is right over here. Um, I knew there were mounds in this area, but and when my uncle and them used to plow and disc the land up for tobacco season, we would wait for the first rain and we would hit the fields, and you could just pick up arrowheads and artifacts like, you know,
Same down here. I'm a
yeah.
right where I grew up at, the like couple of houses down, the guy had a huge cornfield, and every time that he would plow, my brothers and my dad, I never got to go, of course, but yeah, they would go collect arrowheads from things. And I've seen some interesting ones that people have brought in that are, way bigger than my hand. So I was like, what would you use to hunt with that big old thing for?
And but what's good about this subject, everybody in chat, people that'll listen later, is you can start digging right after the show, and it's not hard to find. It's
It
out there.
No, there's tons of videos on YouTube about it that people are making. Several like low budget documentaries you can find on different streaming services. Thanks, Catherine. Yeah, so those the other night you missed. I was wearing a tinfoil hat, like a literal tinfoil hat for Halloween the other night.
Would y'all like to see a giant's head?
Yes, please.
I think so. I'm the
Let me
chicken of
let
the
me
bunch.
let me tell you the story of this head.
Okay.
When in Lovelock Cave, when when the Smithsonian, they said they sent some guys, but it's not really fair. They really didn't have much of a anthropology department at all. The guy came from the Smithsonian was 19 years old. The other guy, they call him an anthropologist, but he was a missionary. He was training to go to Africa, and then he got word of Lovelock Cave. He was in the Phoebe Hearst School of Anthropology at Berkeley. So he's bunking up with Ishi, the very last wild Indian. The last of his tribe. You've seen the the movie, no doubt. It used to be come on Graham Greene in it. Anyway, he gets word of it, so he starts pen paling Alice Herlishka from the Smithsonian, and Herlishka talks him into going out there with and meeting Darrington out there. So his name is Llewellyn Loud. He's totally untrained. So is Darrington. But anyway, they meet out there and they start to dig, and they start finding all kinds of stuff, and they they even found the mummies back then, but they were instructed to rebury them.
Hmm.
And
Wait, they found mummies here?
no, in Lovelock Cave, taught really like gigantic mummies.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um,
Wow.
well, they go on hiatus. They're doing this without funding.
Mhm.
So they go on hiatus. And the townspeople from Lovelock come out there and they dig. And they dig up this huge mummy, which it's not just a skeleton, but it has dried up flesh on it.
A
And
true
Wow.
mummy.
Wow.
and they take it and they boil it. And they drink the liquor in a civic organization ceremony.
Why
If you
in the
can
world
believe
would they
that.
do that?
I've got it in a book. But before they
Wow.
boiled it, some person chopped its head off. And that head stayed hidden, and somebody had it hidden until 1922 when they couldn't stand it anymore, and it made it into a newspaper. And I have a copy of it. You want to see the head?
Yeah.
You want to try to
Please.
get a head?
Yeah, please.
Doo-doo-ts.
Dun, dun.
And that's it. You just make out some hair, but the
Mhm.
quality is pretty low. I actually improved this quality a little bit. It was much worse than this, but look how many teeth it's got. I don't see
I was
double
literally
rows.
about to say that. I was like, look how many teeth are in that
That's
mouth.
a lot of
Definitely
teeth.
has a dentition problem. You can see where they whacked it off. They sawed it off.
Yeah. And that's one thing I was, I did not know until this past couple weeks that a lot of them, the skeletons, they've had 6 fingers and toes and a double row of teeth, which is very, I
Well,
mean, them being 20 foot tall is odd enough, but having,
Don Monroe photographed one with double rows of teeth about 45 years ago in the basement of the Humboldt Museum in Winnemucca. You seen it, haven't you? Have you seen it?
no, I have not.
Let me see if I can find that one for you. And it's a true, I mean, this is a big son of a gun. And now they deny they ever had it.
Of course they do.
Let's see here. Giant skeleton, giant skull. That's what I'll look for.
And for y'all that are listening on Spotify in the near future, you can come to Untold Radio Network on YouTube and check out the pictures and the videos.
There it is on
Wow.
the left there. It's
So
still
this is,
got bat guano stains on it.
so we've got a normal human skull on the right, and then
That's a Paiute skull.
okay.
This is a really big guy.
Wow.
Look at the size of his eye sockets.
I know. And I'm looking at the top row of teeth and how wide that top lip must have looked.
This shows the double row a little better.
Oh yeah.
And how like strong the cheek area is too is very interesting.
And
Yeah.
also
And the
overcrowding of the bottom and the mandible.
Looks like it's kind of pushing them to the center.
Which is what we saw on that chopped off one, the chopped off head.
Right.
Hmm.
Wow, that's yeah, Benno, actually, that's what Amanda was talking about, and I noticed that too. I'm thinking that's dense. That's built very
Yes.
well, strong.
But if you look at this right here, the mandible, you'll see an unusual thing about it that identifies where it's from, where the heritage, where it came from, and as far as its DNA. What do you see unusual?
Well, one, it has a very strong jawline and very strong, and by strong I mean like size wise. My generation and younger would say he has a Giga Chad kind of chin, but yeah. Am I seeing a point?
You're getting close.
I'm getting close. Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like it's coming to a point. if
There
I
you go. You're getting even closer.
Yeah, that's
That's what they call a rocker jaw.
okay.
That's that's an exclusively a Polynesian trait.
Oh,
oh
interesting.
yes.
So
Wow.
this dude right here is a giant, and he heralds from somewhere out in Polynesia out there in the
Wow.
South
Now
Pacific.
that's and the the Polynesians are known for their warriors being really tough and strong, and probably
Mhm.
some of just in guy terms, some of the baddest dudes on the planet anyway. And
Yeah.
if you get a guy that's double or triple the size, he would be a terror, I would imagine, if he wanted
Well,
to be.
I don't know if you've ever read anything about the Solomon Islands and giants they have on those islands. Still to this day, they find their tracks. Uh,
Did did you? Okay, I was watching a YouTube show a couple months back, and I think you and Mr. Ron Moorhead were on. And you said y'all found a track that was about 22 inches long? Is that
I think the one that he found at the Sierra camp was
mhm,
24 inches, I believe.
24? Okay. Wow.
That's a really monstrous track. You get that heavy, then you start to see changes in the anatomy.
Right,
To adjust for the weight.
right.
Uh, yeah, they walk differently. I
That's
had a description by a biologist of that. When you get beyond a certain weight, you have to change the way you walk. You have to try to
Yeah.
keep your legs under you more.
It's take the pressure off the joints and ligaments maybe?
Yeah, that and whatever, just the weight, picking it up. If you extend your leg out, well, then you've got to push off and reach that point of fulcrum
Right.
and and come back over. It gets very difficult to do when you're trying to weigh all that much. Uh, we're not talking about just a few pounds. We're talking about a lot.
And
Uh,
if, I think it was you, I believe, that talked about the muscle density. Didn't we talk about, like, so if you have a one of our muscles and you take one theirs, it's probably 2 or 3 times more dense? Po
it's twice as dense
Twice,
at
okay.
least. If you look at a Bigfoot and you say he looks like he weighs 600 pounds, you can double that.
Wow,
Very
this
interesting.
Uh, this is
and
that.
Question real
Go ahead. Go
question
ahead.
okay, yeah, question real quick before we change gears. So this gentleman, or I'm just calling him gentleman, the skull here, being Polynesian, my brain is the wheels turning in my brain right now is a lot of the giants and other things that were found there in Lovelock Cave, wasn't most of them redheaded per se? That, or at least what some they did find. Am I
Yeah.
correct remembering that? Okay. The reason
Not
I'm
not
thinking that
necessarily red-headed, but red-haired. Uh,
red-haired,
and I
gotcha.
had a meeting with the Paiutes, and they were very adamant about that. That it's there that they were red-haired, not just red-headed. Uh,
Gotcha. Okay. The
okay.
reason I mentioned that, or was just wanting to double check my facts there, was because I'm just thinking most Polynesian people, at least as far as in modern days, most of them are, you know, uh, slightly, chestnut skin with mostly very, very dark hair. So I was just trying to think
yeah,
if,
that is a difference there. Maybe somebody can weigh in on that knows a little bit about what hair happens to hair.
So,
Uh,
some of the reports that I've read on the different continents, a lot of the giants had red hair. So and I know I think, that's one of the rarer colors, right? It's close to black.
At least
It's,
amongst the normal humans on the planet. I think it's mostly Nordic. Vikings had red hair,
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
red hair and green eyes, or red hair and blue eyes.
And they even encountered some giants and had to do battle or run.
Yeah,
Uh,
they did.
Yeah, there was a lot of giants in their mythology and folklore as well.
but
I think they said they found some over here. They call them Skraelings, and historians just explain away, the word. They don't really go into trying to figure out what they were talking about. But they said that the Skraelings had dark eyes, and it was so bad that they couldn't move inland hardly. They stayed out there their on their little peninsula out there and took the wind and the rain and all. There were some that did go inland. I saw the Heavener Stone. You ever heard of the Heavener Stone?
sounds familiar,
Not off
but
the top of my head, I can remember.
It's on the Arkansas River. It's got Nordic writing on it of an old style that goes way on back. They were able to interpret it, and they said it's a land marker. It says it belongs to Garth. I don't think it's Garth Brooks.
I was about to say, who's Garth? Which Garth we're talking about here?
Well-
here's some giant footprints, or giant in size dimension, that's about a mile away from Lovelock Cave. And let me get to some better angles and stuff on it. There's one right there. These are 20 inches.
Okay, wow.
Go.
Okay, there's one right there, and one right there.
See that one?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's deep.
I'm running out of battery.
Are these some that y'all found?
Yeah.
I like that hat.
They look like they're a couple of weeks old.
All right, then you got another one right here, and another one right here. Where?
The sand
It's just-
or dirt there looks really rocky as well too. So it's very interesting that it left as deep and as big a footprints in that terrain as it did.
That's a whole trackway.
You couldn't walk up the road you couldn't drive the road all the way to the cave because a sand dune had formed across the road.
Mm-hmm.
So it forced us to get off, and we walked to the cave off through the desert. And that's when we found that.
Wow.
It's one of those chance things that
Right.
happen sometimes.
Totally unexpected. But with what you do, you keep your eyes open. I've only found tracks 4 times, and every time I felt like I scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. It's like I can't believe that they're there.
There, and there, and there.
That's where Don thinks he sees toes.
And there, and there, and there. Like possibly 4 toes there.
So what was it? Did it happen to be headed towards any water or cover or?
It might have been some water out there in the middle of the playa out there.
You see our tracks coming up to it.
At that time of year, I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean? I don't know. Can't say you know what it is.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
So there you go. That's wild country up in there,
Right.
and there's a lot of it's off limits. You can't go in there because it's owned by the military.
So would this terrain be similar to what might have been the terrain in Kandahar? Would you think?
Probably similar.
And whether you're talking about deer, Bigfoot, giants, or whatever, if something doesn't want to be seen, it's going to hang out in places where we usually aren't.
Mm-hmm.
The deer, you can tame them. They'll come in for food and all that. But the intelligent the more intelligent species will avoid go at all costs, and learning how to live in the desert is pretty harsh.
This right here is a giant's grave. It's in northern Nevada. The Indians killed the giant, and they just piled river rock on him. And this
Wow.
is this photo was taken in the 1950s.
Interesting.
At that time, the Indians saw you were very well. They could take anybody there, but now they quit. They used to come every year and have a ceremony and throw river rocks on the grave to keep his
Wow.
spirits from coming back out.
That was
You
my
want
question. I was going to ask why would they spend the time and energy to bury it with rocks?
He was picking up people and bashing them against the rocks. He picked them up by the ankle
Hmm.
and just bashed their whole body against the rocks.
Mm.
And he was eating. He was cannibalistic. He was just bad to the bone. It took 300 people to do him in.
Wow.
Wow.
Let me read this to you. Somewhere back in the unparted mists of time, long before the coming of the white man to the Great Basin, a race of giants inhabited this land. Native American tradition indicated that they may have been some 9 feet tall, red-headed, and cannibalistic. Sarah Winnemucca writes of a battle between these people and her own Paiute tribe along the Humboldt River. There is a grave on the Pyramid Lake Indian Reservation in which one of those giants supposedly buried. According to Paiute tradition, a giant once, let me see if I can pick this up. It got kind of awkwardly trimmed. That's it. Came down from the north and killed hundreds of warriors by picking them up and knocking their heads together with such force as to crush their skulls. Others were caught up by the heels and dashed to death on the rocks. Faced with annihilation, the Paiute leaders held a council and decided upon a plan to rid themselves of the creature. On the given day, I thought it was interesting that they call it a creature.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting.
On a given day, a party of 300 men armed with bows and arrows concealed themselves behind rocks in the Truckee Canyon, which is still there, and they awaited their nemesis. He was seen approaching with a long string of fish and a great number of rabbits slung over his shoulder and a rope. When he got within range, the concealed warriors stood up simultaneously and each discharged an arrow. He turned and fled out of the canyon, pursued by the warriors, but fell dead within half a mile. The men feasted upon the fish and rabbits and buried their adversary where he fell. No monument was ever erected to mark the final resting place of the giant, but the descendants of those who carried out the execution have conducted an annual pilgrimage. There you go.
I just had a one of those aha moments that probably don't mean anything, but while you were reading that, and it said cannibalism. Wouldn't that be great if you had double row of teeth where you could bite into bones and hard
Well,
bones?
yeah, that's my interest would be to try to recover his remains, but
Mm-hmm.
they went to the site. The Indians did for many years, and rocks would be piled up on the mound to keep the spirit of the creature from emerging, and the tracks made by the wounded giant were cleaned out and preserved.
Hmm.
Food, beads, and trade goods were sometimes brought out to appease the spirit, but the inhabitants of the reservation finally let the tradition lapse, and the story was largely forgotten. When this writer visited the site some years ago, he measured the mound as being roughly 16 feet in length and 4.5 feet wide. The tracks allegedly made by the retreating giant measured from 16 to 18 feet apart. At that time, the writer was, that may be the end of it. Yeah, that's it. Some of it got trimmed off, but I didn't do it.
So
A
I
friend of mine showed me this.
you just wonder why they were comfortable putting that in print, and now they wouldn't. I mean,
Exactly.
unless it was some group of investigators or
See it
scientists.
a little better, maybe right there.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, that's and when Kenny, our buddy from South Alabama, I was blown away. I heard about the burial mounds, but when I found out that they had found giants in the bottom of the mound, there was 100-foot tall hill. Now I'm not saying it was a mound, but they found this newspaper clipping I have from Tennessee. They found the giant 50 foot below the surface. So was that a mound? Did they build it up to bury this thing? I mean, I don't know, but wow.
They considered the giants. They held them in great reverence. Like I said, these giants. Everywhere there was a giant, the Indian tribes around it thrived.
Right.
So they had protection. This was so overwhelmingly large person that nobody would challenge him.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted. So it was a mutual type thing. And like I said, even the demigods, they weren't nearly as big as their fathers, but they were bigger than the rest of the Indians around there, and
Yep.
they held this same position. Tributes. They bring them stuff, bring them food, and in turn, they got protection.
Right. Sounds like a mafia type thing.
Well, I think back in that day, they probably needed whatever they could get.
Yeah, because we forget. It's not that many years ago, really, but it just seems like it is. Uh, if you go back 100 years and you're living on the plains, if you don't have protection, if you don't have a group of people, you're just a sitting duck for it, animals, people, and everything, weather, everything else. So I thought, when you said they kind of work together, I'm like, well, if you can't beat them, join them. Try to survive, and that sounds similar to a king type situation where you grow your crops and give them so much as like taxes or whatever, so they won't. It's a good deal for all people involved, I guess. But
I don't know
that's
what a giant's physical, capabilities
Mhm.
were. I know they imposing. They
Right,
look imposing, but they weren't regular people. So what's inside we don't know.
right.
Uh,
Well, I
and I
know.
think I think they lived a long time.
Yes, I watched one of Amanda's favorite people, L.A. Marzulli, and one of his guys. They had interviewed one of the fellows that supposedly was at in Kandahar when they ran up. The first group ran up on the giant, and then the second group went in because they couldn't communicate. There was nobody communicating back. They went in, and the survivors, the one guy, they talked to him like 2 or 3 times before they interviewed him, and they said that this thing was so big, it had red hair, and it was impossibly fast for its size. It had a staff, and it was very well trained in how to use it. And so that's the only time I've heard a supposed witness give an account like that. But you would think that if that's the case, now they did end up, as we all know, they ended up killing the giant. But I just think about all of my friends that went to the military, and if something had happened to one of them, one of my best friends, and what would the military have done? Would they have told you what happened, or just said it was, an accident? Or that's just it's amazing to think about, because a lot of times when I read story, I kind of put myself in the story, and that's a terrifying one.
Yeah, the story of the Kandahar giant and many others is some of my favorites out there. Ooh, what is this?
That's the giant handprint that we found in Lovelock Cave.
What?
Oh,
You see, compared to his hand,
And
Holy
the
crap.
knife, how long is that knife? About 12 inches or
He has
14?
a notch on that knife, and he
Uh-huh.
pulls it out till it lines it up,
Ah,
and it
gotcha.
makes the knife is 18 inches at that point.
Okay. So that's the width.
Yeah.
The middle finger. So is that okay. So is that because I've heard stories of where certain uh tribes got together and sealed up caves and burned them
Burned them alive.
alive.
This is the cave.
That's the
Yeah.
cave. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the cave. Does that I can't talk this evening, sorry. Is do you think that's the reason for the color difference there, or is that like stained from bat guano or
No,
something? Or
that's stained from it's soot and fatty deposits that's on the ceiling from
uh-huh.
years of cooking in there.
Mhm.
It's like a tar.
Oh, that
And
this is on the
it,
ceiling?
now this is on the wall, but
Okay, okay.
it's the same stuff.
I
Right.
got you.
You can put your thumb on it and look raise, put your thumb above your head on the ceiling, and
Mhm.
you can count up to about a minute, and that stuff will soften from the heat of your thumb. Uh, it you see where it stuck to his finger, and when he pulled his
Mhm.
finger off, it made a ridge of it. See it right there going up.
And
Yes,
you
sir.
you took this
See it?
picture?
I did.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. Because you never
Yeah, it's
know
even still
nowadays what
got like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a greasy residue look to it.
Yeah,
It's
right.
shiny to it.
It's fat and soot kind of mixed up together. It was all over his hand apparently. Um, that's down in here is there's another chamber, and all up on this wall right here, there's soot from a fire down in here that came up out of this hole.
Mhm.
Now it's got a debris cone in it. You can't get down in there.
Interesting.
wow.
You can see some of the soot right here in the edge of that light.
I've seen that on rocks out, out west.
That's that tarry stuff. It's look
Mhm.
how long it's been there. I mean, there's a spider web going across it.
Wow.
It's see it's even embedded in it.
Mhm.
Set across it so long.
So how many giants were involved in this incident? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know because it took them several years to get rid of them. And this is where there used to be a lake out here, and the lake came up like right here. At the time, the lake goes up and down,
Mhm.
but they ran out of their little reed. They had a reed platform they were on, and ran into this cave, and the Paiutes trapped them in there and shot flaming arrows in there.
Wow.
But do you know or have a general idea of about how big the that particular cave is?
It's changed. In 1963, Emery Strong went in there. He said at that time it was 160 feet deep.
Mhm.
It's nowhere near that now.
Do you
The
think it's been that's just from natural time and decay that
yeah,
changed, or do you think it's been changed from
the
people
only
messing with
reason they got this handprint on the wall is because they built a excuse me an observation deck, and it was low in the middle, so they pulled all of that stuff away from the walls to the center to level it and uncovered it. So then me and Don come poking our noses in there and found it. They didn't know. They never saw it. The people building that thing. That's the sand dune.
look how white that sand
What are your
is.
thoughts about what we saw today? What are your thoughts about what we saw today?
Can't hardly hear him.
That so that all of that was the bottom of a lake at one point.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And it changed. I tried to take a picture of the moon. That's Pyramid Lake.
Oh, that's pretty.
And I found petroglyphs with Egyptian writing on them
Wow.
along that lake. It's
Right.
interesting that Egyptian writing's on the petroglyph, and they have a pyramid.
And then the
There
the
it
lake
is.
happens to be called Pyramid Lake.
It looks like the bent pyramid in Egypt.
It actually does. Wow.
Wow. So if you take and open up a history book from school now, it probably has hardly any truth in it at this rate we're going. I mean, that's a pyramid.
You don't get out on this lake. The Native Americans say water babies will pull you down.
Oh,
And I don't know what a water baby is, but they believe it because there ain't nobody on it. And that it has fish.
so we got Rex says the government, did they erase the handprint after you found it in the cave?
They did. It
Holy
was there in June, and by November, the whole front of the rock was gone.
Gone as in like wiped clean, like somebody cleaned it, or
Oh,
gone
no,
as in like they chiseled it away?
Chiseled it away.
Oh wow, yeah, they were making sure you really couldn't find anything.
Wow. I'm glad we got to see the picture. I mean, because you can, looking on the internet, you don't know whether you'll see a Black Panther, and over 2 weeks in Facebook, it's in Mississippi, Alabama, California, Canada, the same cat. So you don't never know. But the fact that you were there and took that picture, that's why I asked, that's amazing to me. And thank you for sharing that with us and
Yes,
the
thank you,
audience.
sir. Oh yeah,
What are
there's our
those?
petroglyphs. It looks
Yeah.
like.
Petroglyphs. These are the oldest petroglyphs in North America.
Rattlers everywhere up here.
That looked like a face. It looked like a Wilson off of that movie, Castaway, on the volleyball.
Those
the
are
hair standing up.
cartouches. You ever seen a cartouche in Egypt?
No.
They're oblong and they have the symbols for the king.
Yeah, that's the ones where they have the symbols inside of the circle or oval.
You see,
Gotcha.
there's three of them there together.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you can see that. Wow. And this is all outside of Pyramid Lake.
Yeah.
So, what
That is
time period does anyone know, like, how old those are?
10,700 years.
Crap.
Oh, watch this now. Oh, it won't let me stop it. Crazy thing.
Gotta love technology
I
sometimes.
lost my ability to stop it. I want to show you what else. Okay. Now this looks like it's really hard to read, but this right here is what they call mise.
Looks
Okay,
like an
right
M.
here is a circle, and that stands for God, and or Ra in Egyptian terms. This right here is a folded towel, and it makes the S sound. Mises, Ramesses. It says Ramses.
Wow.
They made it on this tough tufa. What they call tufa is really rough stuff. It's some kind of formations in water that cause that. But so that they right here it fell apart, so they moved the Ra over here, which is still easy to read. Ramesses, folded towel.
Someone in the comment section is asking, is Egyptian question mark, or were they possibly hieroglyphics from the Maya or the Natchez, who were known to have migrated through that area. And I apologize to those tribes for butchering those
That's a good
names.
question, but I recognize these to be Egyptian, the same as you see in Egypt.
Very cool.
Which is why are they there?
Exactly.
You know, want to talk about missing history?
Exactly. Yeah.
And this would be north of the Grand Canyon, where there's supposedly Egyptians and pyramids and hieroglyphs and all that kind of stuff there too, which is a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah, it certainly is. Let me
MK, I had a good friend ask me this week. He's a very, very smart guy. I don't know why he talks to me, but he said, Roger, what's your opinion on why Bigfoot it's being hidden, and some of this other stuff? And I said, well, and the MK kind of said something about it at the beginning of the show. The easy answer is, follow the money, and how many people would quit going out, and other people would be locked up in their house and couldn't handle it mentally. But also, I honestly believe the subject of Bigfoot, like MK was saying earlier, leads to more truth, and somebody doesn't want us knowing the real history, and it just confuses me as to why. There
That's the
has to be
$50 million question.
there has to be something there that will cause loss of control. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Bigfoot is a linchpin.
See right here, there's
You're
your
right.
circle. That's your mise, and that's your S. Just your plain S. Folded
Right.
towel. Mise. Rameses. And this other is added to it saying something else. It's in a cartouche.
What was the
Cartouche.
one Scott Walter did? Is it America Unearthed that he did a few years ago?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was America on Earth. Yeah, that's a fantastic series that I'm actually glad that he was able to get out there, because you figured they would try to hide some of the stuff that he was
I
talking
mean,
about on that show.
and there's stuff east of the Mississippi that's mind blowing. Georgia's got some crazy history.
Yeah, we do.
Some of the hieroglyphs and rock carvings, and here we've got some. Mississippi's full, Alabama.
See the mise? Mise
Yes.
is right here.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it there
There's
for sure.
Ra Mises folded towel right here. It's got it cracked underneath it, but you can still see it right there. Ramesses.
And you start going out the rabbit hole, is what we use. And then you find in the Egyptian deserts and places that supposedly has had no activity in so many years. And then you find glass, and you find things that are built, because we're, everybody that's here probably knows all this, but things that are built, and we're like, well, how could we do that? Well, then now we're talking about 18-foot, 20-foot tall people that's probably 10 times stronger than we are. Probably helped a little bit, but I won't go any further down that. I have other ideas also, but at one time, around the pyramids, it was plentiful with water, and a lot of I know y'all have seen this, where a lot of the markings on the rocks are from erosion from water.
Mhm.
So that carries them so far back. And the wildness that happened this summer, I'm thinking it was this summer, when they did the readings under the pyramids, and I don't know what to believe on that, because I haven't seen it with my own eyes. But if that's the case, maybe people are protecting us from things that would make us question too much or go crazy. I don't know.
Have you ever seen these big old stones up there in Peru at a place, I think they call it Aliampo?
Mm-hmm.
These things weigh like 100 tons apiece, and they carried them from the other mountain across the valley.
Mm-hmm.
and up there and put them in place. And the they listed three ways that three things that have to be met in order for them to transport those stones and manipulate them. One of them was that the stones have to be willing to be trans transported. I that just
I know.
blew my mind.
I know.
What do they mean by that? Because a lot of cultures way back believed that these giant stones, were alive.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you get the surname, Livingston, Livingstone. That's where it came from.
Wow.
Uh, they all believed that, and like these big old huge like Stonehenge and all of that. They believe those stones were living things, and they had energy. And
Well,
as it turned out, they were right.
yeah,
Stones do have energy, especially the
Mm-hmm.
one with quartz in them.
exactly.
Yes.
That's now, if I think I read this right, but here's a fact that blew my mind. I'm not a scientist, but I read, I was reading up on quartz because we had some things happen where there were a lot of quartz around. And so I started digging in. And the first thing I read was quartz is kind of a enigma because it's neither a solid uh, nor a liquid, or it doesn't have a classification really. So I don't know if I misread that or not, but that blew me away. It's neither a solid or liquid or so what is it? Yeah, we know it stores energy, and if it's put under extreme pressure that you can get energy out of it. And I told the story a while back where actually MK, we were at McMinnville. Did you see the lady with the crystal bowls that was kind of in front of you up the aisle? She had some huge crystal bowls, and she had some pictures of footprints out front where she found some Bigfoot footprints. And Randy Brooks, he said, "You got to come over and talk to this lady." Well, I was interested in the bowls, and when she started rubbing the rim of that bowl, the big
They
one,
sing it.
I stuck my hand down in it without touching the bowl. It lit me up. I mean, goosebumps, hair standing up, energy just on this side. It was the craziest feeling. But if she was releasing that energy, then it makes sense. I
Well,
guess I'm too.
my theory about the huge stones is that it somehow involves giants, not necessarily to having the huge brute strength to pick them up, but having some kind of knowledge about how to do it.
Mhm.
You know, how the willingness for the stones to come. That that's that's a really fascinating statement.
You
And you
it
look at some of those stones, it look like they've been scraped with a butter knife,
and
you know,
and
and made to match perfectly.
the seams are unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah, supposedly you can't even get a piece of paper between them, and
the
I find
tolerances
it
are crazy.
fascinating that some of them even look like they've been melted together.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. You know
Yeah.
how you would get something that's almost about to melt, still kind
Mm-hmm.
of solid, but and scrape it with a butter knife or
Mhm.
any kind of knife, and it would make these little
Stick
pattern.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, it shows on the stones. Uh, what was the world was going on there?
Mm-hmm.
These were so long ago, and the people involved, we don't know who they were. We don't know. It could have been the giants are not us. That's pretty plain. We don't get that big,
Right.
but we they may have exercised some hidden knowledge or hidden skills. Uh, to them, building something like Sax Saxy Wayman, I have a hard time with that one. With 100-ton stones, might have just been a day in the park.
for like the Easter Island statues.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
It just they're bigger than we thought originally because they go underground. Then you have these stones that are perfectly round. You know,
who
it's
could do that?
who could do that? I was looking at like some of the doors and some of the faces, you know, in Egypt. If you look at like one face, and we would think they chiseled it out or whatever, but the measurements are exact. Draw a line right down the middle, and the curves, everything is perfect. What kind of workmanship? How long would that take? What would you know, we couldn't do it now without spending 5 years with engineers trying to figure out a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always felt drawn to these stories for some reason, and I don't know why. Maybe
I've been the
because
same way too, Roger.
maybe
These
well,
stories have always fascinated me.
maybe it's because I saw the Bigfoot when I was young. Maybe it did open my mind up to, like MK said earlier, if this is real, then what else is real? I've always said that, but I get how many of y'all have been guilty of watching a 1 hour Ancient Aliens or something about the pyramids, and end up 6 or 7 hours just watching one right after another? You know, it's just mesmerizing to me.
It is.
You know
For
what the attraction is it puts you right on the edge of discovery and keeps you there.
That's a
That's how
good
come
quote.
you could go 7 or 8 hours.
That's a good
Uh,
quote.
it's you feel like that if you take your eyes off of it, you're gonna miss something, and
Yep.
maybe you would.
Yep.
It's fascinating, and also it kind of you get the impression that it's important. You
Right.
know,
That you're right. There's
Right?
a feeling.
Yes.
It's not. It's more than curiosity. It's a feeling. Like like the carrot's right there, but you just can't get it. You're right. That's that's a good way to
But you're
explain it.
still drawn to it, and so you just
Yes.
have to keep trying to go for it.
Yes. We know there's something there, and my goodness.
well, let me tell you what it's beginning to open up over there a little bit. And I told my grandkids, told them I'd give them $20 if they could recite to me the Egyptian alphabet. And they hadn't done it yet, but Ava put it on her wall. She said she's going to look at it every time she goes by.
I've
Uh,
got a. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
we need good people over there, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We've had a long time with people that would tolerate no other opinions or no other
Mhm.
directions. We had a guy over there, Zahia Was, who's known as the gatekeeper. He was there to if you got anywhere near anything important, he'll run you out of there, wouldn't let you come back.
If
Uh,
there's a documentary of any kind about Egypt, he's the face that's on there.
just
And
about.
I know who you're talking about. And I don't know who you're talking about because I've watched so many of them. Somebody made a comment about the buildings over there. You know, the doorways. That's a normal size human silhouette right there. And then I don't know meters, but apparently that's a pretty good sized doorway. I've seen bigger in Nashville at the Parthenon. It's supposed to be an exact replica. Also, here's a little side story. So I live in Cornersville, Tennessee, and I can drive 3 miles from right here, my driveway. There's a little old museum that doesn't look like anything at all at I-65 exit over at 27. It's the Ron White Museum,
Oh
and
wow!
yes, sir. And we had a store 5 miles north of there for 30 years. Mr. White used to come in and talk to me. I had no idea who he was. But we got to talking about, him finding what they thought was the Ark, and they have pieces that they brought back and carbon dated. And, you know, of course, he's passed away now, and I'm now looking for truths. And, you know, back in the 90s, I just didn't know who I was talking to. And he told me stories, just me and him drinking coffee, about them going over there and the Turkish government seeing what they had found and running them off. And there was, there was kind of threat of war going on and whatever. And
I
so
think he spent a little time in the slammer over there.
yes. And so 3 miles from where I'm sitting, approximately, could be pieces of the Noah's Ark. That blows my mind. I didn't know who he was, though. It's my fault.
I
But
just did a podcast from 2 guys from Turkey. I had to have a translator. That was kind of new.
I
That's
think
actually really cool.
I saw part of that, actually.
You did?
Yes, I did. About 5 minutes of it, and I'm like, "What's going on?" Because yeah, but,
Do you
I didn't
remember
know
the
where
name
they
of the podcast, Mr. Davis?
No, I don't.
No, he don't.
That's okay.
You have to call the translator. Yeah, so
A lot
yeah.
went on in Turkey. It's an ancient place.
Yeah.
If that's the place Ron White thinks he found the Ark, that's there's besides having the outline of the Ark in the mountain, there's standing stones that appear to have supporting evidence for that.
Mhm.
The government of Turkey built them a building there to receive tourists and stuff. And
He said the measurements were perfect. So one of my neighbors riding on by on a four-wheeler. Hope y'all didn't hear that.
Ron White was a free thinker.
Yeah.
He wasn't tethered by any particular belief other than that it said it was there in the Bible, and that's what he went by. But he was free to think, and he didn't turn himself off when he thought something unpopular.
If I'm not mistaken, don't over here in this little museum, they have some of the balls of melted, like from Sodom and Gomorrah.
Sulfur balls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Y'all, look, you know how I found this out, y'all? So the man passed away. The guy that, has it now, he used to come in the store all the time too. Part of that family, if y'all have heard of David Rees, Ries, he has his studio here in Lewisburg, and I'll have to look that up, but his name is David Reis, I believe. He bought a building, and he has a YouTube show. I think it's Christian, but it looks at how history, like what we're talking about now, kind of hidden history and things that have been skewed. But I was sitting here in my house a few years ago, and Mishers at the Museum came on, and I love that show. And we're in a little town of just outside of Cornersville, Tennessee. I'm like, what are they doing here? And they were talking about the White Museum and I started looking on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my God, I talked to him for so long, and I picked his brain a little bit, but if I'd have known, I would have tried to learn more from him. But anyway, that's just just one of them stories. People call me Forrest Gump sometimes. My kids do. But I didn't know who I was talking to. Yeah.
Well,
sometimes.
That's okay. But now you got inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you'll be the next one to make a great discovery.
I don't know.
He found where the Israelites crossed the Red Sea.
Mm.
That got confirmed here recently.
Mm-hmm.
Some ski divers went down there and saw and actually put their hands on that. It's chariot wheels.
Yes, I saw that. I think they said they were so shocked because it's on the bottom, and the closer they got to it, it came into view. There's a chariot wheel, and can you imagine being an explorer and maybe not knowing if a story is true, but you find the evidence for the rest of the world? Well, I mean, it's just like you, MK. We just don't sugarcoat it any. What you did with the Patterson-Gimlin film helped all of us. So,
not to mention the
stuff
you and Don Monroe did too, with all your research there.
Yeah,
That
Don
that
Don
hand.
is he's he's getting on up there in age pretty good right now. I'm a little concerned coming winter. He's burning wood like he's 30 years old, packing it back and forth into his little cabin.
It keeps you young. What state does he live in?
He lives in Montana.
Oh,
Oh
yeah, he
yeah,
needs a lot. He needs a
he
lot of
needs a
wood
lot
up
of
there.
wood. Yeah,
It gets
Yeah.
very cold there.
Yes, sir. And
yeah. I grew up on wood heat. Yeah, you got to keep it packed in.
and
He
being
had a fire last year that he managed to put it out. He don't have running water, so he
Oh
put it
wow.
out with a snow shovel in snow. But he breathed a bunch of the soot and stuff in, and he coughed. I'll tell you what, he's tough as nails.
there we go. Verax, man, Verax is probably one of the smartest people I kind of know. It says MK was on Turkish broadcast, Believe, and Greenwave 2010 FB, the Patterson-Gimlin mystery, 4 days ago. Yeah,
I
so
had no idea. I didn't get no link from him.
I knew you were struggling a little bit. Um the while I was watching, I don't know if they even said anything for a little while there. I think I don't. I need to go back and watch that. I'm gonna write that down. Now that I know, I'm gonna go watch the whole thing.
Oh, they were
Yeah,
nice. Now they were easy going.
It's just tough when you have a language barrier. Wow. Okay. So thank you, Verax. We need to get Verax to write a story and send it to me so I can read for everybody.
So, Mr.
Just call
Davis,
him.
out of all of the stuff that you've gone and done and explored and been a part of, videos and photos that you've analyzed, what are some of your favorite things that you've come across throughout all your years of doing doing your research and everything?
I've had some that I come across just entirely by accident, and to me, the happenstance factor. I almost want to laugh out loud. But I was watching this. I just thumbing through the internet, and this came on. And I was watching it. It was the explosion of the first atom bomb in a test out there in New Mexico. And I was watching it, and I looked down at the bottom, and this huge bird.
I saw that on your channel. I
That
think.
they were 2 miles away from that explosion, so this bird had to be huge, and it was desperately trying to grab air. You know, when your wings touch the top and touch
You're
the bottom,
reaching. Yeah.
you're really pulling,
You're
and
digging. Yep.
it seemed to just come right up out of the earth. It you couldn't tell anything that was there to come out from behind. It just appeared like it might have been in a cave because that area has caves.
And there's lots of legends of thunderbirds in that area as well.
That area, yeah. So that's what I assumed. I was looking at something like that because I just don't think even an eagle would show up at 2 miles.
Right. No.
You know,
I've seen eagles that, probably maybe I don't know how they fly, but with the naked eye, the only way I knew it was a bald eagle was because when it turned just right and the sun hit its head, that gave it away. Other than that, it was tiny. So 2 miles, yeah.
well, I'm not a Thunderbird guy, but that's where my thoughts took me. I looked at it over and over and over again, back and forth, back and forth.
Are you the
And
one that found that?
yeah, I'm the one that
Oh,
found it.
wow. Do you have that video?
I have it here somewhere. I
Oh, it's
believe.
fine. We'll do a
I'll see it.
Thunderbird show sometime. I saw it. It comes up and I'm like, that thing has to be huge.
Let me see which hard drive it might be on.
Because if y'all do see it, so the blast is kind of center up. And where he's talking about, if I'm not mistaken, down at the bottom of the screen, which most people are not going to be looking there. They're looking at the blast. This bird, it's obviously a bird, but it has to be massive.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen that. I'll have to definitely look that up after this show for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just happened to see it. I didn't know you. I watched so much, I didn't realize it was yours.
Thunderbird atomic blast. I think that's it.
That might be it.
Let's see here.
It's flapping its wings.
It is. That's a big bird.
Yes.
And that's a lot of thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
As he says around here, that poor bird is trying to get him some yonder away from that.
So this camera is 2 miles away from the blast.
Yeah.
And if you notice, if you watch the bigger birds, here it'd be the buzzards or whatever that shape kind of like that. Like he said, if it's reaching up and bringing them down under and kind of those wings on a normal sized bird, you're not going to see that.
No. This thing is big as a small plane. Let's see. I don't think I saved the original. I made this little video. Let's see. Thunderbird in atomic blast. And then another one. No, I still got the arrow. Oh well. Maybe I can find it again. That's just a day of surfing on the internet.
That's an eagle eye right there.
So,
But I guess you trained yourself though, right?
It plagues me.
So we got a guy that
Thunderbird's not my problem.
A guy bumped into you in Oak Ridge, Oregon, or I guess it's in. So when you go places, travel the country, do you have people that recognize you from your YouTube videos?
I have at times. I went down on the coast. A lady started hollering at me. I was walking on the beach, and she was up on a balcony at a restaurant.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Verax has I'm gonna have to read this. I don't know what it says yet, but it's always good. You often explore topics that challenge accepted narratives. In your view, what's one piece of history or evidence that you think deserves serious reexamination by mainstream researchers? Oh, you done opened up a can of worms now, Verax.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I've had some recent information on the Patterson film that it's taken me in a kind of a new direction on that. I'm still, kind of working on that, but it had to do with Native Americans and what Native Americans recognized in my my frames from the film.
Mm-hmm.
There's a small braid on her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember you pointing that out previously.
They recognize that braid to have a particular meaning.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
It's called a scalp lock, but it's the word that they use is a language from South America, and the type of language, one word can mean an entire sentence or thought or idea.
Right.
And this one means people from the other side of the mountain.
Oh, wow.
And then the other meaning is the one who knows the way.
Wow.
And when I read that, then I knew that Patty was the one who knows the way. And right up above her, up on the high peaks, there's two peaks, are the sacred peaks where the Hoopa said that before us humans were here, there was another type of human, and they went back to the stars through a hole in the sky from those two peaks.
Wow. See, that's those stories like that. You start going down and talking about the star people and people who come. I found out just by talking to some of my friends that I've met in the last year or so. I started looking like I have the O negative blood and other things and Neanderthal DNA and all that. And then some of my buddies are like, you might have blood memory. I was talking about like feeling at home in Wyoming and out in there. I felt at peace. And I've started looking kind of at myself. And then you hear these stories like the O negative suddenly appeared supposedly about 30,000 years ago or whatever. Personally, I think the timelines are off, but that's for another show.
Right.
But I've the digging I've done, I'm at the mindset of the puzzle pieces are there, but we stay so busy and they're scattered so far, and some of them are hidden. It's hard to piece together. But when you get to talking to people that know from different cultures, sometimes that brings things more into focus than anything else, because those stories and those thoughts have been passed down for millennia. So, you can grab any book, you can grab the Bible, and you pick up a Bible and read it, and you pick one up over here, and it have some differences. So I just feel like I've always had this feeling that the timelines were off. And recently I watched some, I think it was Is Genesis Real? And it showed
That's
how
a great one.
it showed how the Grand Canyon could have been made in 2 weeks, because a lot of the change we've seen in our lifetime with Mount St. Helens or the floods in the North Carolina mountains and Tennessee mountains, a lot of that change happened suddenly and violently. And these scientists were talking about the layer of rocks and like, this is impossible unless it, like a dam let loose or there was a flood and then the water was receding and coming back and depositing this layer of rock and then receding and coming back. So it kind of fits more of a biblical timeline than some of these, scientific theories. I don't know. I got off the rails right there, but it's where it takes you. These discussions.
If
Mhm.
you can imagine now, if she is the one who knows the way.
Mhm.
There were originally, I think, 7 in her group. So she had 6 that were following her to be shown the way to the other side of the mountain.
Wow.
Also, that word, when you talking about showing someone the way, it was a secret way. That was the meaning of the word. She shows you the secret way. Now, if those Bigfoot may not have even supposed to be there. They should have already gone to the stars through the holes in the sky. What if they were given another opportunity to go, to get them off the earth, and she was the one who's going to take them there, to be there on those peaks at a certain time, and then they got interrupted
Yeah.
and they didn't make it.
That could definitely be a reason why she turns back and she's not even really that bothered
She
to
don't try to take those. She don't want to take those 2 cowboys up there.
no. She's like,
So
I got places to go.
she takes off, but they get abandoned. It may be more than once. If you got to be there at a certain time, to take advantage of some method for returning to the stars or reaching space or whatever,
Mhm.
then they didn't make it. So they still have their problem.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of amazing things you've pointed out over the years, but I think one of the things that made me sit back, like when I watched it for the first time, was when she shows her teeth. You know,
Yeah.
that's I don't know what it was about that series of frames, but I don't know if it's the look on her face. I don't know.
It's extraordinary.
It
It's
is.
extraordinary
It
because
is.
Bigfoot don't come out in broad daylight and show themselves right out in front of somebody,
Mhm.
especially with guns.
Right.
That's just not typical behavior. It's something extraordinary going on. I think that people realize that in the beginning, but to find out a meaning for that braid, it's like it's almost like there's priests in Egypt that wore a scalp lock, and they had the rest of their head shaved. Who had a scalp lock come right up out of here and go down. And it was their method of recognition. What they did, what their duties were.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense.
I think that's what
Mhm.
you're seeing there. The Indians, the Native Americans who saw that knew it. The elders knew it. I mean, they immediately identified it, and they
That's
used
interesting.
a South American word. In native peoples here in North America used the South American word that had that odd language that the one word meant it all.
Right. Wow. Well, we're just over 2 hours.
Oh yeah, having
I've
fun.
No, yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
look,
Definitely.
I could talk to you forever, but I know some people have to go to work in the morning and all that. But yeah, we definitely. I look forward to seeing you again wherever that is. I mean, if you get over to Tennessee, just holler at me and let me know, and
Sure.
we could get out. And I know we went boogering the other night with Kumbo and some friends, and I was just amazed at some of the calls and the knowledge that they were just passing between each other. And uh, we're going tonight. We're going to go set recorders out tonight. I can only do so much, but I appreciate people like you that share the knowledge and sit down, with us and the audience and just put it out there. I mean,
I sat there laying on the ground in Laos Camp, 2009, and I heard chanting coming
wow,
from those two peaks.
Oh, wow.
wow,
Is to at least two voices.
that's correct. Look, the more you dig into this, it's hard. You can't put it's hard to put the brakes on. Right now,
Mhm.
I'm writing down stuff y'all are saying, and I've got
I
things
I
to
actually
look
pulled
at.
out my notebook as well to start writing down some.
Yeah. So before we go, y'all, if y'all give me about 30 minutes, um, if you look at Roger Holler on YouTube, I'm gonna go live on the way out to the Booger Woods, and me and Peyton will talk to y'all a little bit. But go check that out if you would. That's something I'm doing on the side just for fun, and I appreciate all of y'all. And me and Amanda, and Ashley appreciate everybody. The support that we've gotten has been unbelievable to us, and
Yes,
thank
thank you.
you, MK. I won't say I grew up watching your stuff because it hadn't been that long, but once again, your work has helped me because of my situation, and seeing the Bigfoot, and I've been able to talk about it, and then seeing the Patty film in a way that, like, yes, thank you. But every time I see you, I'm gonna say thank you, and then I'll shut up. So we appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all too.
So everybody, this will be probably up on Spotify tomorrow, probably around 9:00. Just if you want to rewatch again and listen, or share it with your friends. I think a guest like MK, there's a few out there, but there are very few that have the information and have put the time in that he has. And if you have doubters, go back to the original Squatchin Holler page, and that interview we did where he broke down the Patty film was amazing to me.
That was really cool.
That was 3 hours that sometimes I rewatch it myself. So share that, and some of you that don't know about the old channel, it's just type in Squatchin Holler on YouTube and it'll carry you there. And go subscribe to MK's channel. He don't remember what it's called. And I asked him last time. Green Wave.
Green Wave 2010 FB.
There you go. There you go. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you, everybody. And thank you again, Mr. Davis.
All right.
Yep. Have a good night, y'all.
Hey, I'm Neoma Fenn, and I'm listening to Squatchin Holler. And if you're hearing me say this, you are too, which means you have excellent taste. Cheers.